In the buzzing country of Crotoonia, there's all kinds of machines that help to keep things running on time, each one having their own special job to do. But every now and then, famous machines come and stop by and visit the railways, like Stepney, the Bluebell engine. Stepney is a very distinct engine. He's smaller than Thomas, but bigger than Callie, and has gold-colored paint just like Lady. Stepney lives on the faraway Bluebell Railway and has previously visited Thomas and his friends on Sodor. Stepney loves to make new friends wherever he goes, and is always enthusiastic to do whatever is needed wherever he visits. He even likes pulling freight cars. This Bluebell engine is one mighty machine. Welcome to Crotoonia, Stepney.
Early one morning, Harry was struggling to get some freight cars moved from a siding. They were needed for a mixed traffic train that Donald and Douglas were to take to Nantasket Junction.
Come on! Come on! I'm gonna be late for my next job!
He groaned. His wheels spun and spun. The reason why the cars weren't moving at all was because their brakes were set. But he didn't realize this and just kept on pulling and pulling.
Come on! He groaned. I wish I was moving instead of standing still!
Suddenly, the coupling between him and the first freight car broke, and Harry ran right into a siding, smashed through some buffers, and stopped halfway across an old tramp steamer. Luckily, no one was hurt, but Harry's front was badly bent. Skipper Stu and the harbor master came over to see if Harry was all right.
Well, the only major damage is bent buffers,
said the harbor master.
Oh, botheration,
said Skipper Stu.
Harry and Hamish were to collect the coastline flyer in an hour. Who can we get to take the train on such short notice?
Luckily, Russ was close by and heard everything.
I can take it,
he called out.
Are you sure, Russ?
The harbor master called back.
It's a tough train to pull.
Of course! We've got to keep the trains to time, you know.
Well, all right. But we've got to send Hamish to help out with the backlog while Harry's being mended. So you'll need to find another engine who can help you take the coastline flyer.
Yes, ma'am, Russ tooted confidently. I can manage that. But as Russ got closer to Selgreb Bay Harbor, he remembered something he should have kept in mind before. The Coastline Flyer was an express goods train usually hauled by Harry and Hamish that stops at every harbor along the Seaside Railway. Starting from Selgreb Bay, it goes on to Grothlin and then goes all the way down to Gardinia Bay at the end of the line. Russ was worried, but was sure that he could find someone at Selgreb Bay who'd be happy to lend a wheel, just in case the train was too heavy for him to pull alone. Well, looks like I'll just have to ask the first engine I meet if they'll be able to help me, he decided as he pulled into the bustling dockyard. As he sorted out the containers for his train, he saw a little tank engine sitting on a siding, waiting for help.
Hello there,
he said.
You've got an interesting crane arm. Where's your hook?
I'm a reach stacker. I have clamps instead of hooks.
That's intriguing. I've never met a reach stacker engine before. Oh, beg pardon for not introducing myself. I'm Stepney.
And my name's Russ. I've got a big freight train to take to Gardinia Bay, but I'm not sure if I can do it on my own.
I'd be more than willing to lend a buffer,
said Stepney cheerfully.
I'm catching a ferry there anyway.
Great, honked Russ.
We'd better hurry if we're to get the goods delivered on time.
As the two shunted together the loads to hook up, Russ told him about his work in Grothlin and the many different engines he worked with. while Stepney told him about his time in Crotoonia, in which he'd been visiting to be part of a great locomotive show at Selgreb's city sheds, and now had to return to his home in England, the Bluebell Railway. Russ and Stepney decided to take the train in two halves. Russ would haul the containers, and Stepney would haul the other loads, tankers, fish, stone, produce, and products from the factories around the city. When all was shunted and ready, the two set off down the seaside railway with their important train. Unfortunately, they didn't get very far, as the first stretch to get out of the harbor was uphill. They tugged and pulled, but no matter what, the engines couldn't get their trains up the slope.
I'm sorry, Russ. This train seems to be a bit tougher to haul up than I thought.
You're right, sighed Russ.
The coastline flyer is too heavy for both of us to pull separately, and if we leave later, we won't have time to uncouple each of the cars for the docks.
Then, as if by magic, both engines came up with the same idea. They decided to arrange each of their trains into two new halves. Cars for Grothlin were coupled to Stepney, and cars for Crotoonia Bay were coupled to Russ. Both brake vans were coupled together, then Stepney with his train, and then Russ and his train. With an engine hauling at the front and an engine to haul from the middle, the two could get up the hill and on their way down the line. The rearranged train also made it easier to drop off and pick up cargo at the two stops. Stepney's cars were uncoupled, and new cars of steel, fish, and lumber were coupled on. They made it to the docks just in time.
Well, it was a pleasure to work with you today, Stepney. It's a pity you have to go home now.
Likewise, Russ. But I'm glad your crew have such a good friend. Keep everything in order back home, and who knows, maybe I'll visit here again. Goodbye, Russ, and Godspeed. Russ then rolled home, confident, ready for bed, and glad he had found himself a new friend.
In the buzzin' country of Crotoonia, there's all kinds of machines that help to keep things running on time. Each one having their own special job to do, but every now and then, they need a machine to help sort out all kinds of cargo. Like Russ, the Reach Stacker Diesel from Chuggington Docks. Russ is certainly a one-of-a-kind diesel. He's a little like Harry and Hamish, a little like Skylar, and a little like Harvey. But unlike other crane engines, Russ has a container clamp instead of a hook, and his crane arm is curved instead of straight, so he can lift containers high off the ground. Russ is always ready to help out, and his nimble ways and friendly attitude makes him a friend to all who visit Grothlin Harbor. He's one mighty machine. Welcome to Crotoonia, Russ. Megara is a reporter for the Crotoonian Gazette, the national newspaper for the whole of Crotoonia. This means that she often goes out and about looking around Crotoonia to write about events going on. And on this particular day, she was off to Grothlin Harbor to cover a very exciting event. Morning, Meg.
Morning, Scrooge.
How's life in the city?
Oh, same old, same old. When you've got a demigod for a husband, cruise ship rescues just on the docks within the week, express train rescues the month before, and a runaway freight train tale just a few days ago, life's never that boring.
You never fail to bring a laugh. All set for today's scoop.
Oh, you know it. When you hear a queen's coming to Crotoonia, it's always a big scoop to catch.
All clear for departure?
Fire away, hotshot.
In the buzzing country of Crotoonia, there's all kinds of machines that help to keep things running on time. Each one having their own special job to do, but every now and then, you need a big machine to take on the biggest jobs. Like Warrior, one of the strongest star tugs. Warrior's a super-sized tugboat. He's bigger than 10 cents, bigger than Sunshine, he's even nearly as big as Olsen. His main job is working with Whip and Scruff at the rubbish and recycling yard, but he also helps to bring ships in as well. Warrior tends to be a little bit clumsy on the water, but his heart's as big and strong as his engine, and will always roar into action to help a friend in need. Warrior truly is a mighty machine. Welcome to Crotoonia, Warrior!
One night, as the seaside locomotives were cooling their fireboxes and engines, Skipper Stu was rolling into the roundhouse. The engines were surprised. "What are you doing here tonight, Skip?" asked Oliver. "Passenger detail. The Seaside Rail Co. scheduled a test run for our new express passenger service for tomorrow, but the new engine she bought hasn't arrived yet, so I, of all engines, am to take the train tomorrow." "That sounds lovely," said Emma. "Not when you're the dockmaster's Diesel. I feel like I should stay here and keep things running." "But we all help to do that," said Jones the Steam, "even whilst we have engines out of action. Like how I'm taking care of the containers while Russ is on holiday," said Gripper the Crane. "Suppose you've got a point," said Skipper Stu. "In that case, I'll keep this passenger run on the clock." And with that, he went straight to sleep.
In the buzzing country of Crotoonia, there's all kinds of machines that help to keep things running on time. Each one having their own special job to do, but every now and then, a tall machine is needed for work too high and too far for other machines to reach. A tall machine like Cranky the Crane from the island of Sodor's Brendam Docks. Cranky's a smaller crane than others in the country. He's smaller than Terex, and smaller than Christabel, and smaller than her twin Crystalline. But it doesn't stop him from being useful. Cranky is still very strong, and is much more portable than some of the other cranes in the country. Well, some of them. Cranky is a high and mighty crane at times, but he's also a hard worker. And wherever he works, whether at Gradinia Bay, Brendam Docks, or any other corner he can travel to, Cranky is always on the job. Cranky's a tall load and a mighty machine. Welcome to Crotoonia, Cranky! Grothlin Harbor, there was energy in the sea air as Skipper Stu began the working day for the other engines. Wakey, wakey, lads! It's a big day for the harbor!
Couldn't you have given us a few more minutes there, Skip?
Oh, not today, Montague. The Queen is coming, and we've got a tight schedule to run.
Morning, lads! Sorry we're late. We've had an early start.
Hi, 4 a.m. freights got sent out to make sure everything got sent on time.
Indeed, especially when old Gloucester needs her cargo out pronto. How you doing over there?
I'm all set for loading, pals. Just give me a shout when you're ready.
Stupendous, Gloucester. Right then, I'll have to give your jobs for the day fast. I've got a quick meeting at SodorP Harbor before the docking. Duck and Yemen, collect your coaches for passenger detail. Emma, today you're shunting at Crotoonia Bay docks. Get going, will you? Harry and Hamish, help the twins with the express freight. Russ, you're cleaning up the container yard today. And as for you, Charlie, you've got a special.
Wow! A special?
Why, yes. You'll be in charge of cleaning up the ferry terminal and ensuring all the engines get to their proper lines when they arrive. There's going to be plenty today, so I want you to make sure the ferry terminal is still under order when I get back. I'm counting on you, Charlie.
Should they? Wait, which queen is...
See you in a few, Charlie.
Have a great day, everyone. Let me know how it goes.
Well, off to the grind!
In the buzzin' country of Crotoonia, there's all kinds of machines that help to keep things running on time. Each one having their own special jobs to do. But every now and then, new machines come to help run a new part of the railway. Like Audrey, the Super SeasideExp engine. Audrey is quite a blend for an engine. She's got as many wheels as Edward, is almost as big as Gordon, and has a cat like Livy. Audrey's a super strong engine too. She can pull as many as 12 coaches. That's almost 3 times more than your average little engine on Crotoonia. Audrey may get swept up in her thoughts and imagination sometimes, but her creative attitude and care for her friends, along with the new poems and tales she makes on her travels, makes her one mighty machine. Welcome to Crotoonia, Audrey! There was! A new engine had arrived to Crotoonia. Her name was Audrey, and she was quite a different engine compared to many of the other Crotoonians. She had a big, bulky buffer beam, smart dark blue paintwork, and a big, sturdy tender. She was about to go on her maiden voyage with the newly christened Seaside Soarer, and a large group of engines, workmen, reporters, and other important machines and people were there to welcome the new engine to the crew. Hello! Welcome to our railway! Let me know if you need anything shunted. How much coal can your tender carry? But Audrey was very quiet. She didn't seem to care much about the questions and comments. As Sasha arrived backwards with her coaches in tow, Audrey's first train set off for Grufflin Harbor. Sasha saw the powerful engine roar out of the docks with her important train in tow. She was impressed by how strong she was, and how long and fancy her new carriages were. But then she remembered. She was a very small train, with very small carriages. Carriages that had to load outside of the platform because of how small they were. It made Sasha feel very lowly indeed.